to another episode of Real Life Movie Talk. It is your boy Chris.
Blockbuster Man.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel like that's rude.
What I did?
You guys are just making fun of me.
No, I was.
These are real guns.
Chris.
Put that gun in the holster. What's up, boys?
What's up, man?
Well, not much.
What do we got here? Let's just don't run any snacks because it looks like it's melting in front of my eyes.
So, I was actually suggested to me to get something healthy this week because I'm doing the 75-day challenge.
75 hard.
This is week 5, so I'm about 35 days into it. I went to Smoothie King.
You look good.
And got, thanks man, I'm down 16 pounds.
Hell yeah.
I got, this is called the Hulk. I like
Your shirt is fitting looser than I feel like it would.
And you see my boy, baby. You know what I'm saying? This is the rock shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look better than him soon.
Should have brought a Joe Rogan shirt.
Yeah, we would fight, wouldn't we? It's butter pecan ice cream, bananas, Hulk blend, which is protein and a carb blend, turbinado allergens, butter pecan. Oh no, never mind. You don't have to worry about that stuff that's in there that makes.
Don't you worry about it.
That's the allergens are stuff that if you have a what is that shit? If you're allergic to nuts,
Got it.
Something like that. But I love this.
It's
got a bunch
tasty.
of whey in there. And then, while I was there, originally I was just going to get this. I don't have. Oh, I got some straws.
You didn't by chance grab straws while you were there, huh, John?
Fucking right, I did, baby.
Hell yeah.
Very festive.
Yeah.
We're all into pink. Breast cancer awareness week. And then on top of that, I got
Love that.
these Lenny and Larry's cookies here. So this is my favorite one that they make. The white chocolate macadamia.
It's gotta be this
I
one.
got the chocolate chip, and I've never had this one, the birthday cake. So I'm saying dip one of these bitches up in there.
So these are
Before you said that, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
I was like, I bet you could dip these in
Yeah,
there.
that's you can take a bite without it. They're pretty soft. That's my favorite one. That some bitch is good. I can eat that like regularly.
For it being like a protein cookie, it's not bad.
I never dipped it in here, but when I was a young squire, I used to partake in some weed.
What?
We would go to McDonald's. We would go to McDonald's all the time, and they used to have the dollar menu. And I'd get 2 orders of 3 cookies and a small chocolate milkshake, and I would dip those bad boys in there.
Bro, speaking of McDonald's,
2 orders of 3.
have you seen that insane menu they have right now? Dude, they're stacking like, it's called the, oh God, what is it called? It's called
I
something.
get nuggets from the burger.
Yeah.
I heard that.
They're stacking like McChickens and fries. Courtney was like,
That's just
you guys should get, or somebody said that, you guys should get that and be like, that's your snack. And it's like, I can't even imagine taking a bite of like,
That was a secret menu item.
was it?
Yeah, that they just kind of put on the menu.
That's what Grilled Cheese and Company did. They used to have a secret menu that you had to like know the menu, I guess, to ask them about it.
Yeah.
And now it's just posted right there. It just says secret menu and it's right on the desk.
Right.
It's not very secret.
In-N-Out has become that. Everybody knows what In-N-Out secret menus is. There's this other place that's like a southern, like Texas chain. It's called Torchy's Tacos. They have a secret menu, but now when you walk in, there's a freaking sign right next to the register. It says,
Ask about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, I kind of would, I miss the exclusivity of, like, if you come in and you don't know, you know.
Well, Wawa, I don't know.
Yeah.
They've been doing it since the pandemic, but there was a button you could touch on the menu, like a secret button that would give you alternate menu items, which is kind of cool.
I tried to order a new cinnamon crunch latte the other day, and I couldn't find it on there. It's a sign right in there. So
Because they knew you were on a diet?
that's probably true.
Yeah.
Here he comes. Turn the shit off.
I also brought something from Richardson's, same place I went for our last snack, the Danishes, right?
The supermarket?
Yeah. These are like a cinnamon graham cracker type pretzel. And this is a buffalo cream cheese spread. And I forget, I was just walking around in there one day and they had it out as like a sample and I tried it and I was like, that's kind of wild. Like you wouldn't think that would be good together, but I like
The
it.
magic of food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something about the buffalo and the cinnamon, I really like it together.
What do you think of the shake?
It's very good.
Yeah.
I think the cookies are good too.
That was my favorite.
For it being plant-based, obviously, yeah. I could do that. If I was on 75 hard, I'd eat these.
So I will say the cookies are like around 400 calories a cookie. But there's there's almost no fat in it. There's 16 grams of protein.
Is there sugar?
Total sugars, 22 grams.
Okay. What do you think of that?
Good combo.
Right?
I didn't get to cleanse my palate from the shake, but
Okay.
yeah. You get the cinnamon after. It kind of dulls down the buffalo flavor.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird together. I like it a lot.
Yeah. It's like the first time I had fruit and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
You don't expect it, but wow, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like a graham cracker.
What do you think?
Buffalo.
Pretty good, right?
Oh,
Yeah, I would never have thought to put a graham cracker in buffalo dip.
I also would have never thought to put wheat thins in cream cheese, but shout out to Jess Kinzer. She taught me that trick a long, long time ago, and it is phenomenal.
Do yourself a favor.
Yes. What have you guys been watching? I know a couple of things, but let's talk about it real quick.
I rewatched The Sopranos.
All the way through already?
Yeah.
Holy shit, you have some
That's
free time.
fast. You were just talking about
Is that why you didn't come out on weekend?
No, I was done before this weekend started. We didn't come out because the parents went to Philly, so we just chilled. Yeah, it's better this time than it was before. Got to try to relate a little bit, but whatever.
Ozark?
No.
Didn't watch the last episode yet.
Okay. And you haven't? Oh, man. It's incredible right now, I think. It's so good.
How far are you? Did you finish it?
Finished it yesterday.
Yep. I started a show called In From the Dark.
Oh,
So on Netflix, it's don't want to go that far. I'm one episode in. It's about I don't know if it's gonna be it's about a spy.
Okay.
I think she's a Russian spy. She has a daughter. They're overseas. Her daughter is an ice skater in the Olympic team.
Okay.
And it's the series starts off with her getting captured by the CIA, who tries to get her to reveal that she's a spy.
Okay.
And she tries not to, then she gets put in a predicament where she's about to get killed, and she has to fight. This is all in the preview. So
It's called In From the Dark?
Yeah, and I'm not right.
I'm trying to find it. That's
Yeah.
Is that her?
That's Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah. Is that a different show?
That's just like the homepage. In From the Cold.
In From the Cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
In From the Cold,
In From
people.
the Cold, like a cold.
Like
kid.
Russia.
So they
Cold
find. So
Oh.
she ends up like fighting her way out, and they reveal that she's definitely a former CIA agent. She
Okay.
like turns people. Now, at the end of the first episode, there's some shit going on.
Okay.
I noticed one thing in the first episode. It's like there's a really weird thing that happens, and then he mentioned the main CIA guy that's trying to get her to come back to work. They're trying to get her to come back to work for him because they need to infiltrate somebody else.
Okay.
And at the middle of the episode, there's a weird little detail, and then at the end of the episode, you're like, "What?
Okay.
What is this?" And so now I'm interested.
Okay.
Now I'm interested. I mean, it could go dumb, but it's kind of like I don't know. It piqued my interest, so
Okay.
I'm ready to watch a little bit of it. I finished also 1883. I'm up on that. That's just so goddamn good.
That's what I keep
It's so good, man.
Yeah.
It's so good.
When I finish Mayor of Kingstown, which I'm like halfway through, and enjoying, I'm gonna jump into 1883 or The Peacemaker. I don't know which one I'm gonna do first.
Peacemaker's hilarious.
Yeah.
It is just getting better every week. I've continued to watch that as well. Now it's like
that show.
Yeah, it's
Really?
it's getting much. Yeah. Once I kind of like open myself up to it a little bit to just enjoy. And John Cena's character is becoming much more likable as this is going.
Really?
Yes, way more like his acting is. I don't know if it's because I'm a rock fan. I just had
He probably apologized for Rock.
Did he?
About shitting on him for leaving WWE to act.
No, because now he's doing
I was
that.
just ignorant and I didn't understand what the dedication to acting was.
Right.
Like
How
the
tough it
Rock-
is.
The Rock used to always say, "I'll be back if I have time." Like, you're never here. Why would you even say that? But he's like, but now that I'm in it, it's like, oh, this takes all your time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool to see.
So yeah, those two things. I don't know if I watched. I put on some older movies.
Yeah.
I just
Okay.
pass out too.
Euphoria. I think that's the other show. We're still.
Yeah, it's such a weird show.
It's dude. It is.
It's so. I don't know. I couldn't. Get past the
Yeah,
kid,
it is. It's wild because it's made.
But it's wild.
It's about teenagers. They're played by adults.
Mm-hmm.
And the show's not for kids by any
Hell
stretch. So it's man.
What's crazy about it not being for kids though is that's gotta be what's happening. You know what I mean? That's what's happening in that age group. So even though it's not made for kids, that's what kids are. That's what kids are going.
No, dude, no way.
No.
This is like the flip side of that, to the nth degree. I mean, they're really going at and taking hard looks at
what disturbs kids.
Yes.
Fucked up
struggling with addiction, sexuality, abuse, self-loathing, like all kinds of stuff. And adults too. They've started really incorporating some like parent characters as well. I watched one today, man. The main character, Rue, played by Zendaya, she's a junkie, like through and through.
She's bad off now.
Yeah, and like people forget her whole thing is like her father died when she was young. And our microphone just fell and is dangling.
You guys get it as raw as we give it, babes. That's all I'm saying. We got to keep things interesting. We keep it fun. You know, if this was a big time production, we probably have an actual stand for that thing to go on. I remember a few weeks ago we were down here and we discussed getting a new one of those because if you looked at this thing from our perspective, it's held on by some tape. It looks like Teflon tape for.
It's tough to find stands for these though. The only one I can find is that one.
Well, but we're not getting the same one again.
That's what I'm saying. What?
Get another one of the same ones.
I think it broke the first week almost.
It was not long.
I feel like I should just make one out of 2x4s.
Yeah, did get a base that I had, but I just trying to figure out how to make it work.
Well, you got it. We just got hit with an earthquake. Okay?
There we are.
That's what happened, and here we are still.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like it's tough watching her. There was a really emotional scene in the last week's episode of her, like she is on a bender.
Yeah.
And she hallucinating and like.
Oh, that's right. I remember that from the first season.
Oh man, it's
she
like
likes
that's like a character trait that they've given her. Is that like when she's that high, she can kind of like go to this place, you know? And it's like it was just really emotional, man. Her it was like her talking to her dad, and she's saying like you wouldn't like me anymore. I'm not a good person, and he's like I'm always It was emotional. It was again it's just kind of it sucked me and my wife in, and we watch it, and it's.
I can see it doing that, but
it's good.
It probably is split right down the middle. I bet it's people are infatuated with it, or people just it's too far past the threshold for them where they just don't watch it.
It's tough. It's hard, man. It's hard. Sometimes I'm like, holy. And I said to my wife today, I texted her.
You have a kid, which probably brings you in a little bit.
Yeah, and a little bit. So, some of it I think is a little exaggerated. Like some of the outfits they have this one character wear, this high school age girl. The shit that she's allowed to wear to school, I was like, no chance.
Right.
Like, there's no chance you're wearing that in high school. But like, it's whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it does. Like, man, I couldn't imagine having a teenager in LA like with all that out there. I mean, it's wild, man. It's tough. It's tough having a preteen in Catonsville. So it's like, whew. Yeah, I said to my wife today, I said the one thing this show makes me really appreciate is the fact that I didn't grow up in LA in this time, like in this day and age with the technology.
Imagine growing up in this time period anyway. Like if you don't have thick skin, man, it's got to be tough. Because people get shit on all the time, man. I mean, we were younger, you get picked on here and there, but it wasn't like it is now. Now you catch a picture of somebody doing something, it could just be like a dirt face they're making, it just turning around. And the next thing you know, you got fucking 500 memes made about you, and you're jumping off a bridge.
Yep. Sad.
Girl just did that.
Cyberbullying.
Did you have anything else you've been watching? Aside from Sopranos?
Did you watch anything the whole 40 hours you were home this weekend?
No. I started watching Silicon Valley again.
We never finished that.
No? I love that show.
It's great. We just kind of fell off and then never went back in.
Is that the one where the dude writes the app?
Yeah. It's like a compression software.
Yeah, and then the one guy who's supposed to be like his partner or something leaves, goes to another company, gets a better job or something.
Yeah.
I think I only watched like 2/3 of the first season.
It's fucking. I love it.
I like the one guy who's already rich, who sold some stuff, whose house maybe they're staying at or something, with the curly hair. Yeah, Deadpool. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. He's pretty funny. So what did we watch? I forgot already. It's been forever.
JFK from 1991. Kevin Costner. Directed by Oliver Stone, written by Oliver Stone and Zachary Sklar, and it's based on two nonfiction novels. Like, so when they took both books and kind of wrote the screenplay around those books. It's rated R, 3 hours and 8 minutes long, and it's about New Orleans DA Jim Garrison, and he discovers a conspiracy surrounding the JFK assassination, kind of like right after it happens, and it just follows his career up into a pretty big like trial. So yeah, again, like I said, it stars Kevin Costner, and Gary Oldman, Sissy Spacek, and the list goes on and on. You could, if you're guessing actors in a movie, you could guess an actor, and they're probably in JFK. You know, that's how many people were in this movie.
Zendaya.
Not Zendaya. I don't think she was alive in this movie when this movie was made. But so like right off the break, what did you guys think of the movie?
Thought it was good. I honestly was not concerned or worried about the JFK assassination at all.
Okay.
He was dead before I was alive, and just don't care. But this movie did a really good job of making me care because it expressed the reasons why it was so important. So that's cool. I really enjoyed that, and I liked the movie overall. I thought it kept a good pace for being as long as it was.
Yep.
But you have to kind of be in that mood.
Yep. No, it's not an everyday watch. It's definitely like you gotta sit down to say, hey, I want to watch this movie. I think the acting was pretty good. Gary Oldman is incredible. No matter what he's in, I think Gary Oldman, he plays Lee Harvey Oswald, by the way, who, in case you don't know, is the person who shot JFK, right?
Handsome.
Yeah. But I thought they did a great job up front, kind of like summarizing Kennedy's timeline leading up to the assassination. And then, like Chris also mentioned, why it was so important, why he was so important for the country and why it was such a big deal. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like the movie a lot. Yeah, very informative.
That's the biggest thing about it.
Yep.
It was, what do you call them? It's not a docu-series.
Docudrama?
Docudrama,
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. It was enlightening. There's a lot of shit in there I didn't know. Some definitely stuff that I've read or heard before, but like now that I'm older and I understand some of the events that have happened during that time period and things that would have went another way, honestly, if he was still alive.
Yeah.
It gave me a little more reason to watch, like where his hands were and some of the changes he was trying to make and ended up not being able to make. The tides kind of turned and we went a different direction and end up in war.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things being that he was like, all right, I'm kind of shutting down the CIA, and we're gonna like that.
Oh, we're gonna try.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to shut down the CIA.
So like that bit alone to me is enough to be like, oh yeah, they're not gonna let this guy.
New guy's gonna shut down
or the
CIA?
Black Ops division, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't
they
the
had
whole...
to report to him.
Yeah. Yes. Man. So it's crazy stuff.
Didn't really like what was going on with Cuba. It wasn't really about going to war with Vietnam. Just there was a lot of things that would not have happened or continued to happen had he not been killed. And then you don't hear about it because obviously him dying was the headlines, but the things that you don't hear about that continue to happen is really the ripple effect of him being shot. And again, I just knew he died. I knew that those things happened, Cold War, Vietnam, stuff like that. I knew that those things happened. CIA is still around. Like I knew those things were still real, but I didn't realize that his death is a direct effect of all those things potentially happening, continue to happen.
Do you think that like the people that were alive at that time that are still alive today look back on that because they've now been alive for the JFK assassination and 9/11, right? Yeah. So like, do you think people now, like that was their 9/11 back then? Like when it hit the news, you were like, they'll never forget where they were when they found out that the president was assassinated.
Yeah.
It's pretty, it's crazy to think about. Like, now, like, granted, that's one person was killed. 9/11 was thousands,
right.
But
before that, it was the people finding out about Pearl Harbor, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When the market crashed, things like that.
And they also, like, something I never think about is that, like, when you look back, you're like, you think about JFK and you're like, man, this was, like, that's so sad. But then, like, they did they made sure they incorporated people that were like, F JFK, you know, like he was this, he was that. Like
racism was still very popular.
I never think about that side, like at that time, like how there could have been people that were like, you know.
Well, we're young. Well, obviously way younger than anybody then, but we weren't the conservative type back then that were content with the way the country was. I mean, rich white people didn't fucking want the country to change. Yeah. You know, and they definitely didn't agree with his view on prejudice. I mean, they were content with leaving the world the way it was, keep schools segregated, stuff like that. Like, I mean, it was a different time period. He was young, aspiring, wanted to, you know, really, the way it seemed to me is that he wanted a much better America, you know, not with so many hands in the pot where, you know, it is for the people, by the people kind of scenario. And that was what they were like, nah. Yeah. You got too many, not just politicians, but there's too much money. There's too much money behind all of it. Yeah. Sure.
You know, it's weird. It's one of those things where it's like after we finished City of Lies, the one about
Still need to watch.
Where it's like I never like you can't convince me otherwise now that isn't what happened, right? Same with this. It's like you show me all these things, whether even half of them are true. It's like this is it's not just what Lee Harvey Oswald, if he was clearly involved in some way, but there's no way he could have done that solo if he even pulled the trigger, you know? Which I don't think he did. In my opinion, I don't think he did at all.
The movie suggests that he's not involved, right?
Well, but he was in some meetings, right? And he heard things.
He was a part... This is going to obviously be a spoiler.
Whatever. Oh, yeah, we're in... There's 1991. This movie's 30 years old.
He dies at the end.
Not even
Lee Harvey or
John Harvey?
John Harvey.
Harvey Dent.
Harvey Dent.
John Harvey Kent died at the end.
So does his brother. He's a part of that team.
Yes.
And he doesn't agree when they're sitting in there and they're having an argument. Whatever. What the hell is the other guy's character? The gay one. There's Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones' character.
Great.
Like he tries to dissolve this situation while they're sitting there arguing, and you know, Lee Harvey Oswald's like he wasn't really about it, so that immediately made him. Yeah, I mean he was not directly a part of it, but he was not also not you know what I mean. He also was in the room with the people that were going to do it, right? You know, and by him bucking against it, they immediately found their patsy. Now, obviously, the movie is written completely to that side that he has nothing to do with it. So I can't say we can't say for sure that he wasn't one of the shooters because he could have very well be. And I think Kevin Costner does a good job of saying that. He said that he could have made that shot and came down those stairs had he would have been out of breath. But somebody that's trained in the combat scenarios that he's been in and special forces that he's been in, I mean, he was overseas. Like this guy is trained. So if he had to do that preparation, run him down, like he could have controlled his breathing long enough to go, what's going on? You know what I mean? Whatever in that particular scene. Like it's very possible that he could have at least shot one of those shots because if they almost certain a bullet came from that window or that floor just based on pure trajectory. I mean, he shows it at the end. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. He said 6 or 7 shots. That's what's.
Well, that, and it's like, if he was the sole shooter, why didn't he shoot him coming down the first street when he has a clear, straight line?
And they're going, right when he slows down. Right. There's so many questions. Why did they slow down to 10 miles, 5 miles an hour? Why did they make that weird turn instead of going straight? Why you got guys on the side of the road with umbrellas? I mean, there was so many, like, reasonable questions. I mean, if I could keep going, I mean, the one thing at the very end, and you and I talked about this, but like, as great of an argument as he makes, he doesn't prove anything. You know what I mean?
Not with what the guy was on trial for.
Correct. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now his arguments are valid for the murder, but in the end, those don't do justice for the case he was trying. Right. You know?
Yeah, and
it's all circumstantial. There's no physical proof of all of those things. I mean, you're right. When he shows it, the boy, he's like, this magic bullet had to do this and that, and you know, this whole path and everybody, and like the bullet ends up being perfectly clean in the hospital. Like his points were valid, but it's not. None of it is pure evidence, you know. And
it was just cleaned up too quick.
Oh yeah,
they had the pieces in place right away. What
did he say? That they had the newspaper in Russia like 4 hours later?
Yes,
and it already run the story.
Yep, and then Oswald gets shot in police custody. Yeah. Right, I mean,
Epstein.
Yeah, dude, like there's all these. It's just so weird, right? It's all just too weird to be like, it's what they've been telling us for all these years, teaching us in school. I don't know, man. I don't buy it. That's me. I don't know.
Now we're all gonna get shot.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, everyone felt like it was an inside job, right?
Yeah.
At some point, because had he not done this investigation, because it was it was basically open and closed, and one of my questions as I was watching the movie, I jotted stuff down, and this was one of my dislikes early, but it ended up getting clarified. Like, no, this case doesn't go that if they kill the president and he starts investigating this shit, they would have already gotten rid of him. He's the only investigator that's trying to move forward and put all the pieces together that disbelieves this, or others may, but he has the balls to move forward with the case, even though he's getting warned. Now, he doesn't get threatened at all in the movie until the very, very end. But he meets that one guy, Mr. X, who tells him that the reason he's not is because he's in the public eye now, and if they do kill him, obviously it'll look like the whole thing's been a setup, which makes the beginning of it make more sense. But I would have thought at the beginning there would have been like somebody would have stopped by his house or called, you know what I mean? Like, hey, ask 2 more people about this, and I'll make sure your son disappears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Any more general thoughts, Chris? You got anything else? You want to jump into some likes about the movie?
Sure.
What did you like?
I like the way the story was told.
Okay.
I like how it just showed the progression of what it would take to even suggest something like this, the toll it could take on somebody, and how it could ruin your career. Which seems like today's political climate in a lot of ways. It shows how corrupt the government was then compared to even now, that everyone distrusts the government. And the real interesting part for me was that the documents are set to be released in 8 years or something from now?
Yeah,
2030 something.
35, right?
Oh, 35?
It's something like that.
Okay, so that's just crazy. Where do they come from that time frame? They think everyone alive at this instance is dead. By the time it comes out, no one's going to care anymore?
People are going to care. I mean, Oliver Stone just made a follow-up documentary that just got released. I think we mentioned as well. I haven't watched it yet. My brother did. He said it definitely raises more good questions, but he's like, I believe what I believe about it, and that's what it is. So but that movie made me want to see what new information he has in this documentary.
Sure.
To parlay that a little bit. Remember when I was talking about the FDA or CDC when they got sensitive, when they went to court, the trial by a group of civilians saying that they wanted the test results from Pfizer's fast track testing of and they said we won't give you the results until 2055.
So
what?
Yeah.
What? So we gotta wait. We gotta wait 40 years to find out. 30 years to find out what this. They're not asking for future results. They just want to know what were the results from the test of the vaccine that you're giving now.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so yes, I imagine that the theory behind that is we'll just wait a long time and hopefully nobody gives a shit then. But people are going to care.
Clearly. I mean, they're still making movies about it.
People are going to care. 2054, there's going to be movies about this goddamn vaccine if people are still alive from it. You know what I mean?
It's wild. It's the government works for us, and people just seem to forget that.
Yeah.
I mean, it says that on paper, but
he said it in
don't.
The movie. But it's like, you are entitled to this information. This is your information. That's what you pay taxes for. You're not going to be able to see it for 55 years. Yeah. People are just okay with it.
Right.
That's crazy. It's insane. Who is anyone to say you can't see this because the government decided it's unsafe? It's weird.
Yeah. I really liked the fact that this movie is even made. That's my biggest is that it's so the prosecutor, Jim Garrison, the balls it takes to do what he was doing. I think it takes balls to even make this movie.
You're goddamn right it does.
Because I mean, as a film director, I feel like you're kind of the government could be okay, we got you.
And this was in the 90s.
Yeah. Before
this wasn't that far removed.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Right on tail end of the age, you might have a coke overdose. Right. You know what I mean? He might not. Yeah. So I just like that it's even made. That. I like that it's out there.
Cal Ripken probably said something to him. Probably punched him in the face.
Why do you think they shot him? That's my only thing.
Who? JFK or Lee Harvey Oswald?
JFK. They could have killed him in so many ways.
Man, I don't know.
Especially the CIA.
Yeah, that's true. I think their plan I think that their plan, like in the meetings, I think their plan was to find a way to kill him. And once Lee Harvey Oswald went against the idea of it, before they made a decision, I think they decided that. Honestly, I think it was an act fast thing. We have a patsy. This guy could shoot. He was in the service. He's got a very odd background, going to the Soviet Union and denounced. He's got a lot of variables in his life. He could have some PTSD. There's a lot. And JFK is making big decisions now, like getting rid of CIA, trying to get us out of Cuba, not going to war. Like there's a lot of things that he was trying to change right away.
Yep. And
people liked him. And now he's a face that's on television. That's what basically won him this election. People could see him. He was young, he was spry, and he probably had a couple. I mean, honestly, I'm sure he had a couple skeletons in his closet too. But like,
yeah,
I think it was just an act fast thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If he stays alive too much longer, some of those things come to fruition. Some of those decisions become real, and maybe the CIA is going. Because it does. The idea of that doesn't get that light isn't shed for a long time. I didn't know that he tried to do that. I had no idea until this movie that he tried to get rid of the CIA. There's no way they fucking aired that out back then.
Yeah.
Like that would even being naive, if I was younger then, I know what the CIA is, what they do, especially then, like they could kill anybody.
Yep.
Waterboarding was allowed. So what would, if you heard that the president, outside the other things, was going to get rid of the CIA, and then all of a sudden he's shot, my first thing that would come to my brain, whether it's Lee Harvey Oswald or not, was this has got to be in some sort of inside job, and then the rest of the pieces,
Yep.
I think that's why it ended up being so sloppy, because they had to be so fast. I think that he potentially was going to make some major change that would have been a hard change. You know what I mean? Not questionable. They couldn't have backtracked from it. So they had to do it right away. Yeah. That's what I think, and that's why it's sloppy. Anytime you have to fucking act before really making a full out plan, it ends up like this.
Yeah.
That's why you got to kill everybody involved, essentially, because it'll end up getting broken up. I think
it's always so like it's still to this day shocking to see the video of it happening.
Oh yeah, they show like 10 times.
Back and to the left, like that's a whole thing. Like that too, that right there. If that piece alone doesn't make you question, because they're saying Oswald shot him from behind, right as he's already passed. Kennedy gets shot. He goes this way. There's no.
And one of the bullets misses.
Bullet, bro.
One of them misses.
Yeah. There's no way you get shot from this angle and go this way.
Right.
It just, there's no way. I don't know, man. And to see his wife like trying to grab his brains off the back of the car, man. It's
the other guy had 6 exit wounds. Or 6 wounds.
The guy in the front seat, right? Yeah.
He had 4 exit wounds and 3 entrance wounds. Yeah. How in the fuck is that even? There's no.
The magic bullet.
Dude, I've never seen it slowed down. Look at that. I'm drunk, dude. I've never seen it slow down like that before. And like when Kevin Costner, closing arguments were phenomenal. But when he slows that bullet down and literally how does that case not at that point go to, okay, whatever, that guy isn't guilty. But how from there are we not opening a case against, Lee Harvey Oswald's dead, but he's got family, I guess, you know what I mean? How are we not, at least for his namesake, going, did you guys hear the closing argument? I mean, I'm sure that was all videotaped back then, you know what I mean? We had cameras. I'm sure they videoed that whole thing. Even that, because...
the media defamated his character.
Yeah, right.
Did you ever see the Seinfeld episode where they parody that scene?
The what, Seinfeld?
Yeah, they parody that scene. Like, there's this whole bit. Kramer hates a major league player because he's saying he spit on him or something, and they do this whole magic spit. Yeah. There's no way. It's a really funny thing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Way to make light of JFK getting killed.
We're talking. I mean, this was Seinfeld in the mid-'90s, right after this movie comes out. It's like
I need this car ride like I need a bullet in the head.
Yeah. Do you guys dislike anything about the movie?
I thought that it could have been shorter, honestly. Yeah. I think there's a lot of very good information in this, but there's a lot of scenes cutaways, a lot of chopped scenes in there where they probably could have eliminated 30 minutes of this movie, and we got the same information, the same solid acting that we got. So there's a lot of like conversation that didn't need to happen, and there's a lot of just scenes where it's just you didn't have to show it. You know what I mean?
You could probably lose some of the family drama with him and his wife.
Yep.
I mean, it's not really. It sucks that it would put a strain on his marriage, but like. It's not really pertinent to actually why everybody's watching the movie. I don't know. If you're going to cut stuff.
It does tie to why, obviously, it's so difficult to do it because what can happen. But the whole world hated him.
Yeah.
Which is, if it's true what he's saying, it sucks.
Yeah.
The black and white, too. I didn't understand because, so at first they were using it for like the historical scenes.
Yeah.
Like shit that had happened.
Yeah.
But then some of that isn't. Some of it's still past scenes and it's in color. I couldn't understand when they were using. They weren't like.
Yeah.
It was weird to cut the black and white scenes to the color scenes. I was like, oh shit, they're going to do this. And then they did. It was halfway through the movie. Yeah. Sometimes they were black and white. Sometimes the current shit was like a skewed color, and then the other shit. I didn't understand the colors either.
Yeah.
And then the dude David Ferry, which is
Ferry.
Yeah. I thought once they brought him to the house, I thought they were protecting his ass. How does he get out by himself and end up committing suicide?
I don't know. It's a good question.
He comes right there. I mean, they break literally that scene before they find him dead. They're in the house telling him that they're going to protect him, and then all of a sudden he gets to get by himself.
Yeah.
And
John's a good question.
I didn't understand.
And I don't remember the chain of events that led him to be on his own.
There isn't any. He's in the house with them.
And he's gone.
And then literally Kevin Costner's somewhere else, and they get a phone call saying that David Ferry committed suicide. And the guy, and he remember because he's like he took too many pills, like hit his heart, like whatever. They killed him.
Yeah. You dislike?
Length is the only thing for me.
Yeah. I didn't like Joe Pesci's wig.
Oh, his eyebrows.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, that's true.
It was so bad.
So short.
I mean,
the whole thing was weird.
Terrible. Guys got to. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what the guy looks like.
Sure. I was thinking that as I was watching it.
It was terrible.
Sneeze that.
Quotes?
Yeah, I got a bunch.
My favorite quote, aside from the scene where he said, "These are your documents, you paid for them," and they're telling you can't see them for 50 years.
Yeah.
I like the early in the movie when he starts getting obsessed with the death, like 3 years later, and his wife's like, "Honey, you barely got any sleep," and he said something regarding the case that opened his eyes, and he was like, "Hell, I've been sleeping for 3 years."
He
just realizes what's happening.
Yeah, that's cool. I like something that Mr. X says to Kevin Costner when he goes to DC. It's basically at the end of their conversation. X lays out. He's like, "This is all the reasons why the government." He's like, "You have no idea how close you are to what actually happened, and here are all the reasons why. And let me tell you why that is." And he goes, "The organizing principle of any society, Mr. Garrison, is for war. The authority of the state over its people resides in its war powers."
That's a good line.
And I was like, yeah. Wow.
Sure.
It just summed up basically what he had been saying the whole time so well, and it's, I think, also still relevant.
So, my favorite line is from the closing arguments, but do they try to quote this guy like word for word in his closing argument that Kevin Costner gives?
That I can't answer. I don't know.
I mean, probably.
This line was awesome. He says
the transcript's got to be out there, right? They had to use it, I would think. Yeah.
He says, "What is the future of a democracy where a president can be assassinated under suspicious circumstances, while the machinery of legal action scarcely trembles? How many more political murders disguised as heart attacks, suicides, cancers, drug overdoses? How many plane and car crashes will occur before they're exposed for what they are?" Now, he said that in fucking 1990. But look how many people that we're talking about been suicided.
Well, before that, right?
Well, I'm saying in this movie they put it in 1990.
Yeah, but that quote would have been what, the 70s?
But even if it was in the 90s, but yeah, in the 70s still. But like, how prevalent that every day you're hearing about people,
That line, and then the other one he says, which is it's a crazy thing to say, right? But Jim Garrison says, "Hitler always said, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. And that is so... I mean, you literally every day. How many people just spew back, like, what's on CNN,
Yep.
Fox, and just like, ooh, they just take everything. Ah, man, it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Do you have any more, John? Any other ones that you really wanted to say?
The Jim Garrison quote, another one. He says, "One may smile and still be the villain." That's a pretty good line. I like that. And then the one I thought was funny is when he goes to jail and he's talking to Willie O'Keefe, who's Kevin Bacon's character, and he says, "You don't know shit, Mr. Garrison, because you ain't never been fucked in the ass." Dude.
He says that?
I fucking
lost
it when he said
dude,
that.
I forgot.
And then when he says, when he's walking away, he said, "Mr. Garrison, you're not a bad-looking man. You do well in here."
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
He said, "I'm going to find you when I get out." Dude,
Oh, my
I was dying laughing.
Yeah.
I'm down in a conference room, and I'm fucking spewing out laughing. Dude. I'm dying. Because the movie is kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there you get a little bit from, because it doesn't take much to be funny when the movie's really, short. Not slow. It's just
Director's Hat. Would you guys change anything about the movie?
Nah.
No?
It's tough to change stuff about docu-series. Docu-drama.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like, keep going docu-series.
I mean, it's the only thing. Like I guess to say my main issue was that like I wasn't shocked that they found the guy not guilty, right? Because of what you had already mentioned,
Right.
and that's like make a stronger. I mean, how can you? You don't have the stuff, right? But like, if you're gonna make a stronger case for what you're actually trying. I get you want to get your point out there that this is a conspiracy and the government did this, but like you're trying to convict this guy for something totally different. You have what evidence did you provide?
It's misdirection
To show that he is involved.
It's like he took that guy to trial just to prove that Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't a killer.
Yeah.
It's misdirection. He's a patsy for the government. Takes him to trial, screws up the prosecution. The guy gets off. So even when the documents come out, they can't find him guilty later. Double jeopardy. Everyone's all in on it.
Okay.
Kevin Costner's character?
Kevin Costner was probably in on it,
That's
honestly.
what I'm saying. That's what I was just saying.
You were saying
But he just said that.
I meant Kevin Costner, actual Kevin Costner, not Jim Garrison.
Oh,
I was just joking. Yeah, I was just.
But that's the tight way to wrap the whole package up.
Mm-hmm.
Like just prosecute everyone that's involved.
Right.
Don't deliberately fuck the prosecution
Don't
up.
give him anything.
And then they can't ever go to trial for it again.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Which
really
is,
want to loosen
another Tommy Lee Jones movie, by the way.
Double Jeopardy.
Another Tommy Lee Jones movie. That's the one. Ashley Judd.
John Candy's character in this?
Oh,
what a weird,
so ridiculous.
So his accent, his voice and accent. As soon as I heard it, I was like,
"This is awful."
I've never heard this.
No,
you're like a strong asshole-ish New Jerseyan.
Yeah. So one of I forget who said it. The address of one of the buildings, 1313 Dauphine Street. I'm going back to New Orleans in March. I'm going to look and see what the building looks like.
You gonna kill the president?
No.
Okay.
But I would just like to see, because they mentioned, I think they showed the outer, of the building, and I was like, I wonder if it still looks the same. So, because we're kind of staying near the French Quarter and stuff when we go down there.
Cool.
So.
You should get a cardboard fathead Lee Harvey Oswald and sit it up in the wall.
Yeah.
Crazy. Scores.
do that.
Let's do some scores, boys.
7-2 for me.
Okay. Yeah. I was right there too. I'm thinking 7-5. I think
I liked it way more than I thought I would, seeing that it was 3 hours.
I'm glad. I'm
pissed when I drove to work and saw it. I bought it that morning. Maddie was in the car. I bought it that morning on iTunes when I was driving in.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm sorry. I'm lying to you.
You sent me a picture from the couch.
I was on the couch, and I was going to watch it that night, and I was talking shit about it that morning to Maddie, like, because my thing said 3 hours.
3:20.
Yeah, 3:28, and I'm like, man.
I don't know if there's an extended cut of this movie.
I'm not watching it.
But you don't need to.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours and 8 minutes. That's how long it is.
7-4.
Oh, cool.
And it was good. It was good. It was especially our age group.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care anything about that assassination, honestly. But I like it.
Yeah.
No,
the closing arguments are awesome. I wish I could remember
really good scene.
when he's talking about the fundamentals or foundations that we're taught as kids are just lies. Like you teach kids to be honest and this and that, and then you grow up to find out that none of the things that they taught you or how you're actually gonna live your life or something. He says something, I was like, damn. It was the end, and I was trying to get done. I had to watch it at work.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good. Glad you guys liked it. I was a little worried when I suggested it because it is dated a little and it is long, and I knew that. I thought you guys.
Any
would too,
documentary's got to be dated though.
Yeah.
It's at least happened before.
Yeah. But I'm gonna. I don't know if you guys are going to. I am gonna watch the documentary, and I'll see. If there's anything new, I'll obviously bring it to the table or let you know if hey, you should watch this. But yeah, I mean, that's about it for the episode, there, fellas.
Check it out.
What do you guys want to do next week, movie wise?
That's what I was
Any suggestions?
When's Jackass come out?
It's out, right?
It's out.
You want to see that?
If you want.
No?
If you want.
No?
No, if you want, I will watch it.
I'm just interested in a review like that because there's going to be so many ridiculous things we can talk about. I'm sure.
That's fair.
And the lines. There's going to be some good lines.
I'm just wondering because it's different than our normal.
It is very different.
I like it because it's a good pull for this.
Listen,
for the movie review.
I will do since JFK was mine, and I know that was a big ask of you guys, so I will do, if you want to do Jackass, I'm in for Jackass.
Are we going to tell them our new idea? Thing, or are we gonna just expose?
We're tossing around, so we're tossing around the idea of kind of maybe incorporating the movie review segment just into the podcast itself. We'll still record the entire thing, but it will be one long episode on that. We're gonna tighten up the movie reviews, kind of like try to breeze through our points and get to the
no two movies in a series.
Yeah, and we'll get to like two. To our scores, like as fast as we can.
This was pretty quick.
I think we were pretty quick on this one. One movie, and then the snacks and all that other shit will all just be incorporated in one episode. And right now the podcast episodes run about like hour 15, hour 20 anyway. So if they start to run maybe an hour 30, whatever, and it's just
through a lot of stuff.
And we can cut it.
And if we're planning, it'll go a little bit faster. I mean, we kind of just filibuster.
So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and you guys drop us a comment.
If you don't like that idea, we'll stick with what we got. It's just hard. It's hard to get 3.5 hours out of 3 grown men.
Anybody.
Anytime.
Yeah, and we got, it is what it is. Now we're all, when we started this, it was, mid 2020 pandemic.
Yeah.
Everybody was home. We had a lot of time. We had this. And at my schedule since November, I have been go.
My work's picking back up.
Chris has had crazy stuff going on. UMBC exploded or something. I don't know what he does.
That is fun.
So please leave us a comment. Let us know if you guys like that idea. That way you can also get, our movie review segment will be strictly in audio form. If you just solely listen on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen, then this segment is now also there. And we'll still try to
bring listener viewership to each.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of think it was just something we talked about today, and we haven't decided fully yet. But I think
if you guys like it, say it.
Yes, please leave us a comment. But that's it. No shots this week. I got a flight in the morning. You got to work. Chris is hungover. But that's it.
Breakfast.
Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, pray for Chris. Thank you guys.
Real talk from real movies, you will listen. Real life from real hype, you feel different. Underrated, appreciated, or barely made it. You let us know at Law Bay, yeah, you really hate it. And Chris was like, in the past, he got it going better. And like Jess, it didn't show up, and we don't let her. It's real talk, no theoretical, though it ain't invisible, man. It's so dependable, damn. You can't see him if it's dark or bright. Ask Chris with his Miller Lite. Or Blockbuster, it's so good, right? Candyman or Tony Dodd or Holy God. I mean the devil all the time, or release the lie. Apocalypto, go against the grain like your boy Adam, who drink Jack like Jungle Ann and Nick Mullins. Educators, tell us what you know about him. Is it bad or good like Peanut Butter Falcon? Special guests like Danny D and Dave Arnold. Let us look to the future, event horizon. In real life, the movie will never stop. Till it does, we drop, and there's no getting up. Until then, subscribe and they let you know the tops. Only way to know for sure is to watch. So shut up and drink your pops, your soda and corn pops, and listen to the real life movie talk. I'm isolated like the lady in black, and I seek revenge for these movies that whack.